Colossal Biosciences. What they call the quote world's first de-extinction unquote. What do you think about this?
Nice.
What do you think about this, Mason? And also,
Cool.
can you guess the names? Do you know the names of the direwolves? There's three.
Thor, Loki, and Helena.
Helena. Where does Helena come from?
Oh, I thought that was the sister's name.
Uh, I'm drawing a blank, but I feel like no, that seems more like a Greek name. First of all, like it'd be more like Greek mythology than Norse. But let's not get
Hmm.
into that.
Okay.
Their names are Romulus, Remus, which is awesome because that's like the Roman, the supposed like the twin brothers who like founded Rome, which is cool.
Okay.
They were supposedly raised by wolves, which is really
Nice.
cool. Anyway, and the third one is Khaleesi,
Hmm.
which I guess she doesn't get a direwolf in the show.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you might have spoiled said
Not a
like
dragon.
any of the kids,
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like if it's a girl, if it's a female
like Arya,
direwolf, yeah,
like
I don't know.
or Nymeria or whatever she named hers.
Just call it John. Jon
Yeah,
Snow. It's a
yeah.
direwolf. Who cares? You don't have to gender the name.
The direwolf DNA must be close enough to the the whatever wolf they use. It must be close
It
enough in
was
DNA.
the gray wolf.
Okay.
So the whole thing was like if you were to take like a cheek swab of someone, you'd get like a huge like paper reels of like DNA letters that code, right?
Right.
Just all that G code, genome and whatnot. But if when an animal has been like when it starts to die, like and decompose, like that kind of stuff, you start getting like holes in the letters. And
Right.
so when it's been extinct for like a million years or whatever, 10 million. What's the thing? They've been gone for 10,000 years, right? Uh, when they've been gone for that long, the holes are pretty great in the sequence. So yeah, they like put it up next to a gray. They like, got us billions of these little fragments of code. They use the gray wolf to like fill in the gaps of the
Okay.
genome. Which so some people are saying
So it's like a hybrid kind of.
it's not actually a dire wolf. It's actually a canine. It's actually a wolf, a gray wolf. But like
Yeah.
they've edited like the shape of the face, the body, the size, muscles, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, they probably had to make it a bigger frame and stuff, which I'm sure some of that DNA had that already built into it. But which I mean, still, if anyone's complaining that it's not a true dire wolf, like you'll never see one then. Like this is the closest thing we're going to get. So call it what it is. That's going to
yeah,
be a dire wolf. That is what we know as a dire wolf.
that's
The
this.
other one's not real. This one will be. This
You
one
see,
is.
that's what this one. That's what the CEO Beth Shapiro. She's kind of like that kind of thinking of like, oh, it's not really a dire wolf. It's got to have the full genetic code. And it's like you're kind of missing the point of this
Yeah.
whole like accomplishment. They wanted to resurrect like the core attributes of that specific animal, and they had to use they had to bring it back to life using a like through a living animal. Not like not what I mean. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It'd be what if they used like they put the DNA of the direwolf and they just like injected it into a gray wolf and it like transformed into a direwolf.
That'd be cool.
That would be I mean that would be fucked up, but it would look
Yeah.
really cool in a movie.
I don't know. I think
It's
it's cool. I think it's like I was listening to some guy on TikTok and
mm,
it's basically like if we can reintroduce megafauna, it's going to help global warming significantly. It can like lower Earth's temperature by like 6 degrees, like once it's fully in
mm.
effect. So
Yeah,
like
megafauna would be nice.
yeah, so like hopefully this was just like the first step because they had more DNA for it, and then we get some like woolly mammoths back in. That'd be sick.
I don't know. So this is the same. So this is the same company that did the woolly mice thing, right? Which is
Hmm.
pretty cool. Very internet crazed uh, pictures of those little buggers, and they are fucking cute. We showed them on this
Yeah,
show. Why
yeah.
not? They're great. Uh, I don't know. Does that get us to? How does that get us to woolly mammoths? I guess I get it. Like they got some of the attributes of a woolly mammoth, but why wouldn't they just inject that into elephants? Why they do it with mice? Probably because it's easier
They're
to test mice.
well, yeah. Like I said, they probably had more of the DNA for the wolf, or it was closer to the gray wolf DNA that
Yeah.
they went full force with the gray wolf first to see if it even work.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate on
I
this
mean,
situation.
Here's the thing: it's the same thing with AI. Like we're eventually going to get to this point in technology where it's just going to happen, like
No.
regardless.
The thing is, though, we don't have to get to that point.
We don't have to.
That's the
But what's
thing
the
with
point of
like,
evolution if you just stop?
we don't have to evolve in this direction. We can switch directions in evolution. It's called adapting.
Yeah, how
This
are we
this
going?
evolu- this evolution course, this evolutional course could be dangerous for us.
Yeah, but
I
at
think
this point,
the cons outweigh the benefits. I think we
what
need
are the
to
cons?
the future cons. I don't know. Enslavement of humanity by robots. I don't know. Ever heard of that, Mason? The
Yeah,
robots destroying all of humanity? I don't know. Ever read a sci-fi book?
yeah. I mean, AI is one thing, but like the megafauna thing, this might be the only way we have left to fight global warming. So I would
True. I
say that
mean,
pro is way bigger than any other con. Like,
I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. Okay, yeah, let's get back on topic here.
okay,
Because I'm just trying to. I want to look at both sides. We gotta look at both sides. So
right,
this person, this is what Paul Wilson says. He's a wildlife geneticist at Trent University,
right,
Ontario, in Peterborough.
okay,
He says, "quote At the moment, I think they're creating interesting zoo-like novelties." End quote. Which I can kind of see. He's saying basically like it's impressive. It's cool. It's a fun little like internet you
yeah,
know thing. But then the CEO would say there's more applications to this than like what we're like. We're in the first steps of it,
yeah.
right?
I
So
mean, just editing DNA is huge, you know.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm not upset with it.
yeah,
It's not like a full direwolf. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea because I thought it was like an actual dire. I thought it was one of those situations where it was like, holy shit, they brought. Because I was like, oh, now they are going to bring woolly mammoths back, but it's not like that. Obviously, yeah, you can't get. It's not going to be like Jurassic Park. We are. Here's what I'm going to say though, Mason. With these actual like the woolly mice, cool. These are like dire wolves. We are going to get dinosaurs. They are going to build a Jurassic Park. That is Disney probably is already in the works in their Imaginarium Hell House workshop. They are already growing dinosaurs for their own Jurassic World like section of the theme parks.
yeah. Here's the
Guarantee. I
here's
will
the thing
happily
though.
spread that conspiracy theory,
Yeah,
and it's true.
yeah. Here's the thing though. Like a lot of like main reason why animals were a lot bigger back then was there was more oxygen available, so they could get bigger.
Yeah,
So maybe like if
I
they're
want to get
coming
bigger,
back,
dude.
I know what may, but I'm saying if they're coming back today with oxygen being less than what they were, maybe they're not going to be like these ginormous
Well,
things we're thinking of. Like
they're
maybe
not
they'll
gonna.
be,
Yeah,
they're still going to be huge, but
we're not
maybe
gonna
instead of
get.
like 10 foot, they're going to be 6 foot.
Well,
You
we're
know?
not gonna get like, oh, see, that would be cool. A 6 foot tall T Rex sounds fun. That sounds somewhat manageable, kind of like a pit bull. That sounds somewhat manageable.
Yeah,
But
like it
it's
can
like I said,
still kill you,
it's not
but
gonna be Jurassic Park. But it's because we can't clone. We're not gonna be able to get their DNA from like we. I think they've truly have tried getting like DNA from mosquitoes that have been frozen in amber for like millions of years, and it doesn't work. I think they've tried that.
yeah,
You know
and there's
why?
probably
Because
like
it
nothing.
dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so it's not gonna be like exactly like dinosaurs,
no, like probably
but
our best bet is just from like the Ice Age and earlier, or like further than that.
it's not gonna be a full size T Rex like we see in the museums. It's gonna be like a T Rex. It's gonna be an animal that it has. It's gonna be an amalgamation of like a few different things because they need to
It's
like
going to be a
fill
giant
in.
chicken
Yeah, they might, dude. Okay, now that is interesting.
because I
Could
think
they
that's the
use?
closest relative
It is,
to the
and
T
so
Rex.
could they? How could they do that?
They would have to use that as the basis to like breed it at
Would
least.
they have to? What if
Yeah,
they?
because it's the
Well,
closest
what if
thing they
like
got.
okay, so what if they? But couldn't they? If they could figure out a way to get Brontosaurus, let's I'm gonna switch dinosaurs. What if they could get Brontosaurus DNA, right? Long
Okay.
neck dinosaur, right? And they implement that into giraffe egg, a giraffe DNA, right? But you see, that seems. I feel like me is just like that seems like black and white. Like I'm not really
Yeah,
looking.
I
Yeah,
think
I feel like I'm making it too simple.
yeah, I think a long neck. I think there's more that involved
Yeah,
that
I
goes
think
into a
so.
long neck.
Okay, I think so too. I think so too.
Because like the
Good. I'm
whale
glad you
back,
said that. Okay, I'm glad you said that. I didn't say mellow manifestations.
Stay safe, everyone.